qualities, yeah, discuss the qualities too. Yeah. Okay, wind it up, everyone. Okay, who would like to share? Okay. Haridas Thakur. And anything special, one of his special qualities? Right. Would you repeat it again in the microphone for the...
So Haridas Thakur, since he was beaten in 22 markets and he never complained that I hate the guards who are beating me and stuff, and he was compassionate for the guards because they would get a lot of karma.
Thank you very much. And would someone else like to share?
Lord Ram, who was kind enough and obeyed his father's, if not father's wish, but the father's dictum to leave the kingdom and spent his 14 years in exile, out of humility and out of his love and affection for his father. We also talked about Vidur, who also went on to lead a very humble life, though he was offered to live in the palace because he was like kind of the minister, during for the Kauravas and all. So those are the two characters we thought of.
Thank you. Someone else like to share?
Hare Krishna. I was thinking about Mother Kunti, because it's only when all of her troubles are over that she learns, she has this realization of how appreciative she is for those troubles. So it's inspiring to me to be appreciative in the midst of troubles,
Thank you. Anyone else want to share? Come on, you guys, you all know each other. Don't be formal. This is our chance to really share our hearts. We're here in chant all weekend, and it's our opportunity to...
He already said Haridas Thakur, but I also said Haridas Thakur because he was really, really humble, even though he chanted all the time and he thought he never remembered Krishna, but he was always remembering Krishna. So
Thank you. Well, and so which came first? Was he humble and then he was able to chant Hare Krishna all the time, or he chanted Hare Krishna all the time and therefore he was humble all the time? Right? We were talking about that, the Sharanagati prayers. One more share.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So we discussed about Ambarish Maharaj. So he was very humble when Durvasa Muni sends a demon to him, across him to kill him, just because he drank little water and broke the fast. So, and he's very humble. He is accepting whatever is happening, and he's completely having faith on Krishna, and he didn't do any kind of oh no, you cannot do this, nothing. He was just waiting what to happen, and he accepted as it is. He's as Maharaj was saying yes to everything, yes. So that's what we discussed.
Thank you. So now I'd like you to turn to your same partner, and some of you had groups of 3 or 4, that's fine. If there was anyone that wasn't included, maybe somebody, I think a couple of the ladies back there weren't included. partner share. So now I want you to think of a devotee, someone you've met in this life. It's all right if they've already passed on, and it can be a relative, it can be your parent or grandparent. That's all fine. But just a devotee that you've known in this life that had a very strong impact on you, that had exceptional qualities that really kind of ingrain themselves in your memory. So please share that now with one another. And they can still be alive too. Okay, one more minute. I'm so glad to see you guys aren't shy, that once you get started, you're all very talkative. That's awesome, because we're going to have lots more of these, okay? Okay. So, is everybody done? So how many of you found that really awesome to get to like think about and glorify a devotee or devotees? So that we have that opportunity like every day, like all day, we can do that. And it actually makes our hearts happy. And it makes us enlivened, and it makes us really appreciate one another. So another point is like attention, right? I remember this, we all know the phrase undivided attention. And I don't think that ever meant as much as it does in our current techno, gadget, gizmo age of what does undivided attention mean anymore? Like, okay, you get me for 3 seconds until something beeps or bangs or buzzes or, do you guys feel like that? You're like going through your day and it's like, something's always going off. I mean, it used to just go off in my own head. Now it goes off around me too. It's kind of scary. So attention is considered by psychologists to be the most basic form of love with relationships. That giving attention to the person that we love is a very fundamental way of how we show we love them. How many of you have children or have taken care of children? And what happens if they don't get your attention? They will figure out some way to demand it. If they can't get it positively, they will definitely get it negatively. They will make sure not too long of a time period goes by before they get your attention. But that's not true with all of our relationships. And it's described that attention or being attentive is like the water and the food that feeds a plant. If you want good root system and you want the plant to be healthy and to bear flowers and fruits, then you have to feed it, you have to nourish it. And if you don't, we were visiting my sister yesterday on Bainbridge Island on our way here, and she's got a beautiful vegetable garden and lots of fruit trees, but one area of strawberries hadn't gotten watered and the sun had been very strong, and she walked by and she went, they need water, and they were all like laying over limp and, and within a few minutes of watering, giving them the attention they deserve and the water they need, they're just immediately perk back up and pick the strawberries, offer them to Krishna. So it's really, really important if we want to have long-lasting, deep, meaningful relationships with our family members, with one another, and especially with Lord Krishna, that we give the relationship that undivided attention. And so, of course, we can say, but I got to work, I got to cook, I got to drive, I got to go to school, I got to all the other things we got to do. But to learn how to unmultitask. We've learned how to multitask to the point where our attention spans have gotten to be about 1/4 of a second, So now to unlearn that and learn how to focus again on one person, one activity at a time. I don't know if I think it might be relevant to all of us, but they've done the studies now, and all of that, we thought we were so competent and so accomplished by becoming so expert at multitasking, but it's actually causing problems in our own brains. So there's enough research that's been done now that shows it's counterproductive. It's not helping us. Our memories are becoming shorter and shorter. Our production levels are all the things they measure that are important for work and business and all of that. It's counterproductive. It's not helping us. So there's different things that can help us be attentive. One is the decision to make that conscious choice to be attentive when we're driving, when we're talking with a person, when we're cooking, when we're chanting. And for chanting to be attentive, how many here are visual people, visual learners? Very important for you, what you see in your environment. Okay. So for visual people, usually having, like we've got in the room here, the Maha Mantra in front of us, having beautiful paintings of Krishna, having deities, the Lord's deity form in front of us, all of those help bring the mind back, keep it focused for our chanting so that we actually see Krishna's here before me, I'm chanting to him. Or Srimati Radharani and Krishna are here before me, or Shri Shri Gaurnitai, so that the mind is kind of hemmed in because of that visual experience. And for those who are stronger auditorial with ears, how many of you are stronger auditorial learners? Come on, Bada, how you raise your hand? For you, it might be more important to have Japa tape. No, there's no tapes anymore. Japa, Srila Prabhupada's Japa playing, or having other devotees nearby also chanting softly. Or all of the above. All of these things may be helpful. So attentive, there's some great synonyms that I'll share with you. So intent, listening, concentrating, careful, alert, awake. Right? All these great, don't we want our japa to be intent, listening, concentrating, careful, alert, awake, mindful, watchful, observant, and then some other ones, considerate, kind, helpful, accommodating, conscientious, thoughtful, respectful, courteous. So all of these are like synonyms of attentive. Anybody want to guess some of the opposite antonyms? What's the opposite of some of those things I just said of being attentive? Distracted? Disturbed? Asleep? Half asleep. Neglectful? Discourteous, yes. Unkind. Thoughtless. Impatient. Yeah. So. Those are all lack of humility, yes. I don't know, some people can be sincerely, attentively clumsy. Right? How many of us, right? So to assist, just like, again, cultivating a garden. How many of you have done gardening? Or houseplants? Something, okay. So, strange buzz now. Is it sounding buzzy to you guys? Or just me? Just shifted. So, and of course we had the example of the Bhakti Lata Bija, right? The spiritual master mercifully plants the Bhakti Lata Bija in our heart. And by cultivating the Bhakti Lata Bija with attentive, undivided attention, undivided attentive chanting, we're watering and feeding, and by hearing and chanting and kirtan and serving devotees and all of our devotional practices, we're cultivating and caring for the Bhakti Lata Bija in the heart. So, Yes, and if you're a good gardener, you want to make sure and take out the weeds, because if the weeds grow, they can choke a devotional creeper. So I would like to do a small visualization with all of you. Give you the opportunity to have your own visualization. I'm not going to do it for you. So this is like a guided meditation. And this you're all going to do on your own. It's not going to be a partner share, but afterwards we'll take the opportunity to share some things. So this is for with the intention of increasing our ability to see everyone as part and parcel of Krishna. Everyone is Krishna's property, and everyone is Krishna's dearmost friend. So I'd like you to just sit comfortably. If you need to move a leg, if something's falling asleep, or whatever you need to do. If you need to sit in a chair, if you're on the floor, whatever, just to be able to relax and focus. You're going to focus inward. So go ahead and close your eyes. And just take a few very deep breaths. This is an awesome place here for pranayama. A beautiful purifying wind all around us. Fresh, clean air. So as you become conscious of your breathing, just allow yourself to relax and let go. And it'll get easier in a minute. So begin by thinking of the form of the Lord that's the most dear to you. And if you have more than one form of the Lord that's the most dear to you, that's all right. But just go ahead and choose one for now. And everything about this form of the Lord, consciously bring into your mind everything you know about how your Lord looks, the descriptions you've read, or if it's one of your own deities that you worship. Every detail that you can remember. Both visually and the qualities and pastimes of your Lord. And if you're seeing this form of the Lord in your mind's eye, go ahead and ask your Lord to take a seat in your heart. Offer an asana in your heart for your Lord to come and be seated on. Take this opportunity to increase your meditation. And if you want to offer some manasa puja in your mind, you may offer artik or flowers or cooked offering. Now I want you to envision the form of your Lord to be able to actually perceive or see your Lord in the hearts of every person you interact with. And every time you're interacting with your family members, with your friends, with your colleagues at school or work, with persons in your town or city, your Lord is watching everything, hearing everything. He knows everything. He's present in both your mind and in your heart. And He's present in the heart of each and every person you interact with. So what will you offer your Lord through your interactions? Love and kindness, patience and tolerance. So now I want you to envision yourself going through your day, how it starts in a typical day, the first people you encounter in the morning, those in your house, or if you live alone, the first people you encounter when you go outside, and when you go to your school or your place of work. And as you're seeing the different people in your life, in your daily life, envision your Lord in their heart. And again, you can let those visions go and just now come back to your private meditation and offer the Lord some prayers of gratitude. And when you're done, go ahead and open your eyes. Okay, and go ahead and share with your partner or your partner group your experience, something you gained from that. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, I needed to bring I had this really cool gong, but I didn't bring it. Gosh. I need to have my gong. Gong. I guess kartos would work. So who would like to share? Maybe just a little, like a summary. Don't share the whole meditation, just a summary of it. And who's, okay, great, you're going to be the runner. Who would like to start with sharing? Okay, Sri Rupa.
I loved the whole thing, but something that stuck out for me was it was hard to see, like the deities I admire was Kishore Kishori, and it was hard to see them in some people. I felt that.
It's honest.
Yeah, it was. I could see them like in like when because I go out for Krishna lunch, and it was nice to see them in people like that. But then there are people that I see every day that I was like, really? Is he inside their heart too? So I need to work on that.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I thought Balakrishna will be coming into my heart, but I could see a different person like Kaliya Mardhan Krishna. He's dancing on Kaliya. And actually in descriptions we say like he wears yellow garment. Krishna wears yellow garment, right? But I never saw yellow garment. I saw a blue garment. And I saw the bells, like this much big bells. And I did not see flute or anything, but I could see only blue dhoti and the bells. He's dancing. And I could feel like he's in my heart, like he came into my heart, and I offered butter to him. I didn't do anything else, but I felt like I gave a big ball of butter to him, like, and he's eating it. That's what I felt. Thank you, Mataji. This is the first time I felt like that.
Well, the good news is he's always available to meditate on within our heart. Always there. We have to take the time and the attention. Thank you. Someone else? Come on, you were all talking. I was getting jealous. Everyone was so excited sharing, and I was thinking, I'm getting left out. I want to start bringing the microphone around. And now you're all quiet.
The one part I'll focus on is when you had said meditate, see that your Ishtadev is in the heart of everyone you meet in your daily life, when you wake up and when you go around. So I was thinking that I live alone, but there are people around me, like my neighbors, and like when I go to the grocery store, unknown people, strangers. So sometimes I'll just walk by and totally not acknowledge people. And I was thinking, hey, wait, the Lord's residing in the heart. It was very powerful when you said, think that the Lord's residing in their heart, and how would he, I'm not sure how you said it, but it was like, how would he receive the interaction? Like, how would he want you to interact with this person whose heart he's residing? So that was powerful for me. It made me think that, I should acknowledge people, like whoever I come across, strangers, somebody I don't know. So it was encouraging me to even just like smile or greet anyone and everyone that I meet, because the Lord's in their hearts as well. That's what I wanted to share.
Thank you. Prabhu, will you share?
I was thinking kind of along the same ways. I live alone and getting ready for work and then getting on the bus, and I just kind of brush by people, and then from thinking like I should be smiling and how would the Lord want us to, he sees everything and hears everything that we're doing, then I started feeling like I needed to develop more compassion for these fallen conditioned souls that don't know about Krishna consciousness and don't know about Krishna in their heart, or even if they can't realize that he's in the heart, some aspect of God, and then I kind of got a little sad, thinking that, wow, what am I doing to help other people out? We all have this gift, and I'm doing nothing but paying attention to the book that I'm reading on the bus, or just going to my job, not 8 to 5, and get to go home and know about Krishna while all these other people might be suffering.
Did some of you have, that have families that you live with, were you seeing maybe your family members a little differently? Or not differently, but you want to share? Yeah, you're nodding, yes. No, you're not trying to just to clarify, you're not treating them all like Krishna. It's recognizing that Krishna is present in their hearts and the exchange that you're having with them. There's a difference here. I don't want to get into that Mayavad line there, I might not be asked to speak again at a Japa retreat. Anyone else over here who wants to share? Gosh, you guys are all so quiet now. Well, we could just pass the mic and every single person could say something. Does anyone want to share who their Ishtadev is? Because I know, or like I said, I remember when I joined, actually before I moved in the temple, I started doing book distribution, distributing Srila Prabhupada's books. So, and our temple was a Gauri-type temple, and then later Sri Panchatattva were installed. So my whole world was Panchatattva. And I was a little anxious though, because I was also very attracted to Radha and Krishna worship. But I remember having that conflict, which are my lords? Is it Panchatattva, Gauri-tai, or is it Radha and Krishna? And then reading in the Srimad Bhagavatam how in Goloka Vrindavan, we get all of our lords. We get Gauri-tai, Panchatattva, and we get Shri Radha and Krishna. So it's not an either or. There is in the Vaikuntha planets and there are different for those who are Ram Bhaktas, there's Ayodhya, and for those who worship Krishna in awe and reverence, there's Dwarkadam, and like that. There are variations, varieties in Krishna's perfect and pure spiritual abode. But I was very relieved to know. So that's why when I was thinking of this, I was thinking, it's okay, like you said, you thought, it would be child Krishna, and then it was Kaliya Krishna that it came into your vision. So we're so fortunate that our Lord has many, many unlimited forms and unlimited qualities. So we don't have to have that conflict. We can love and serve Krishna in his many different forms. But anyone else, would anyone like to share who came in your mind and heart today?
We have been worshipping Lord Jagannath a lot, and this year is the year of Navakalevara, which happens once every 12 to 19 years, where the deities take a new form, new deities are being built, and also it's a pretty big festivities in Orissa, and I just recently traveled to, from Orissa. So I saw the festivities and all. My family is back over there, so I'm kind of missing that as well. But yeah, so Lord Jagannath, very close to heart, and worship him daily.
Thank you for sharing. Anyone else want to share?
Hare Krishna Mataji. After your instructions, I closed my eyes and I started thinking something. I don't have any clear image, but listening to your voice and concentrating on your words, I was thinking on the same thing. Then I got a glimpses of Krishna's lotus feet, not clearly, but a little image, and his there is hangings in the end of the flute, right?
Mm.
Those hangings and his hand like this, which hold the flute. And I thought of seeing his face, but I couldn't see that. And when you were talking about think of your favorite deity or something like that, I got my deities, like in our home I have Nitai Gaurachandra, Gaur Nitai. I feel like they are very humble. They will accept whatever I do. Whatever I offer, whatever I do mistakes, they accept very humbly. But I don't know how to repay them or how to respect them again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Well, we know Krishna doesn't need our offerings. Gaur-Nitai don't need our offerings, they need our love. They want our love. So whatever you're offering with love, they're accepting. So you can be happy in your heart and still strive to do more. Both are there. Thank you. Anyone else want to share? Otherwise we'll go on to something else. Yes? Oh, good.
I had the same experience as Mataji. So I saw my home deities, and I always feel that I don't serve them well enough, and I just pray to them that they keep me in their service. That's all I prayed. And please don't take away my service.
Don't go dancing off to somebody else's house. Gaur-Nitai do that sometimes. Thank you for sharing.
I had the experience when you said to think of the form of Krishna, your favorite form, and my mind went blank, and I was just like scrambling, and I really had trouble identifying with the singular form. And you said, it's okay, there can be more than one, just find one. And I've really been praying, like that. Please, Krishna, take my japa away from my mouth and let it come from my heart. Like, I don't want to just have words. I want it to be beyond the words. And this exercise was like an answer to that, like this first step of an answer, because how can it move beyond my mouth if I can't yet even meditate on the form of the Lord within my heart? So I really appreciated this experience to give that inspiration. And there's been this theme going on that reading feeds your japa and japa feeds your reading. And it was like, okay. So when I'm reading and I hear these expressions of about the Lord and about His form, now that feeds this understanding of who Krishna is. And when I understand who He is, then, hopefully I can increase my relationship and that my japa will reflect that. So that was my experience.
Thank you. And actually there's so many beautiful sections of the Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita where there's beautiful verse after verse describing the beauty of the Lord and his personal form, and beginning the meditation from the lotus feet of the Lord's lotus feet up. And these meditations are there for us. It's not just something to read. It's something to actually practice, meditating on the form of the Lord. And of course in the deity form, that's kind of done for us, but to internalize it so that it becomes like, we're inadvertently, we're meditating on so many things. We're having to study how many of you have gone to school and had to learn so many things that you could care less about, but you really learned them and you really know them and all of that. So this is so much more valuable to read these verses and think deeply about them and to meditate on them and practice meditating on the form of the Lord and remembering the Lord's pastimes and remembering the Lord's qualities and his exchanges with his devotees, because it gives us great encouragement and great hope when you read the story of Gopakumar, who goes on such a long sojourn throughout the whole universe, and at every step of the way he's still hankering for that which no one can satisfy besides his Lord Gopal in Goloka Vrindavan. And this journey that we're all on to be reunited with our Lord in the spiritual world. So, these aren't just stories. These are actual, they're transcendental expansions of our Lord. These are non-different. These scriptures are non-different from the Lord. And it's how we will deliver our mind and our senses. It's how we will be able to go to leave this material consciousness behind. They're not just books, they're not just Kindles, they're not just, something very, very personal that the Lord has arranged. And you see throughout all of time, the transcendental literatures, they come to us again and again and again through the different forms of the Lord. The Vedas are being saved by Matsya Avatar, they're being recompiled by Srila Vyasadeva, they're being spoken by Sukadev Goswami, they're being spoken again by all the acharyas in our line, and they're being given to us again and again and again. So we're going to, I'd like to now open it up for just remembrances and realizations from the classes that happened today already, from His Holiness Romapada Swami's class this morning, and from the prayers of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Sharanagati, and some discussion that was there. So anything that really affected you, you can look at your notes, you can just, remember, and not just what was said, but how you want to apply it in your life. So you can do either one. You can talk about what was said or how you want to apply it, or both. How's that? Be nice? Okay. Yes, I'm asking you all to share. I guess that wasn't clear. No, we're going to do it with the microphone. Just one person at a time can share. Although you guys talk a lot more when you do the partner share. Would you rather do the partner share? Or the microphone for the room? Let me see a show of hands. How many want to do it as a partner share? How many want to do it with a microphone? And if I pass the microphone, how many will actually speak in the microphone? I'll start. We can't have a relationship with Krishna, with the holy name, without having humility. Otherwise it will remain on the surface. It will remain superficial. It will remain outside of the heart without that humility. Next. Thank you, Arti.